Hey everyone, it's Kavork and Jack here from Major League Crypto.
How y'all doing this week?
Thank you for joining us. Today's stream we'll be talking about Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash primarily.
So the big news is, and why there was so much fluctuation in Bitcoin this week, was that it was offered on Coinbase, which is the largest brokerage in the United States. So Kavork could tell you more about that. I'm gonna step outside for just a moment. I'll jump back on here.
All right, so this is the big topic of the week, Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash. Let me see if I can pull up this article. Aaron, you want to pull that up? Just to put something in the background. So basically, yesterday Coinbase added Bitcoin Cash. It was crazy, honestly. First they announced it was GDAX, then it hit the Coinbase exchange. And basically what happened was Bitcoin's dominance in the market was completely just taken over. It was a huge pump and it was a huge dump at the same time, but now it's recovering. So Coinbase added it. Then they had a new tab upon it, and basically from that everything just went wrong. No one was able to get transactions. It was delayed, and it was chaotic. It was pure chaos. I was like going on Twitter and looking at it, and it was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Because at one point when I was in the Coinbase app, it went up to like $8,400. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Because if people are not aware, after Bitcoin Cash was created, and I talked about this in the last live stream, what happened is that there's this thing that's called around the internet called the flippening. So the flippening is basically, is Bitcoin going to be the top dog, and if so, for how long? Bitcoin Cash came on the scene. It's like, all right, I'm going to take over. And the first flippening happened where it broke, I believe, around $1,600. Then it crashed when it was introduced onto Bitrex. So this is, I call it the second round of the Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash conflict. And by the aggressiveness I saw from Coinbase, I don't think it's going to let up anytime soon. I think there's going to be another push in the next couple of weeks for Bitcoin Cash to take over. But I don't think they'll win. Not so yet. I'm just trying to see how things develop, because right now the time is just so chaotic. But right now there is a Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash conflict, and Bitcoin Gold came a little bit up, came up a little bit too from this conflict. It's very interesting to see. So let me see what else is here for Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. If I pull up the cryptocurrency market, we could see from here, if you look at the top of crypto market capitalizations, Bitcoin dominance is at 45%. It's very low. It hasn't been this low since the big drop off after 19K. So it's down at 45%. And Bitcoin Cash, after the whole explosion, dropped to third on CoinMarketCap. So right now we're seeing what's going to happen. Right now I'm not freaking out yet, because if Bitcoin Cash does usurp Bitcoin, for a lack of a better term, then we're going to see some very chaotic things in the altcoin market. So let's talk about also Litecoin. Litecoin right now, this is some huge news. Litecoin's founder sells all of his Ethereum, but promises not to leave.
What's up, guys?
Oh, hey, Aaron. So this is Aaron. This is our video guy. He's the one that set up everything here. This is beautiful, Aaron.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. I really love it. I love directing the whole thing. But I'm just kind of filling in for Jack here, because funny story, he ordered Jimmy John's before we started the stream, and the guy came right when the stream started. So
yeah, literally, Jack hasn't ate all day, so I'm taking over the stream. And it's like, yeah, we usually do a back and forth thing with, like, he goes over charts and I just do the what's going on in the entire sphere. But
yeah.
Right now, yeah. So
if you hear all that crackling noise, it's him eating. You know,
yeah, it's him eating in the back. He's chowing down quickly. So.
Yeah, he'll be back soon. But
yeah,
let's talk about Bitcoin Cash, dude.
Yeah, so Bitcoin Cash, it's a slight upgrade from the Bitcoin protocol. As we know, it's a hard fork. It's a split, and basically right now, what I always said was from the previous live stream, you hold your private keys, because Coinbase, they keep your coins, right?
Yeah.
So when the coin splits off, they kept the Bitcoin Cash. So right now, it was looking back, hindsight is 2020, right? Bitcoin Cash got listed on Coinbase, but that kind of makes sense though, because they already had that large supply of coins that they could already give out to people from the fork. So that makes sense.
Exactly. You know, I actually had a couple friends and that held Bitcoin on Coinbase and weren't actually able to, trade it until now. I mean, they had it for such a long time, and they seen the price go up and down. I mean, it was kind of scary for them because, you know, they're thinking, okay, what if the price drops? I want to sell it when it's high, but Coinbase hasn't given them these coins for such a long time. And now that they finally have it, it's just shot up in price.
Well, yeah, because so many people are signing up for Coinbase accounts too. That's why
exactly
everyone's saying, and also I read a couple of comments, you know what, Bitrex is not letting me create an account and all this type of stuff. You have to understand that literally hundreds of thousands of people are trying to get into this market, and literally the infrastructure of these websites just cannot handle the stress at the end of the day. And especially Coinbase, because Coinbase is basically the one bottleneck for American residents to get into the cryptocurrency markets.
Exactly. I mean, it's the only one they're going to be going to because, I mean, they have the good app. They have a good app on the App Store. You know, they have a great website for trading free with limit trades. But what's also interesting, and I want to kind of talk about, is this whole like Bitcoin versus like Bitcoin Cash thing. I mean, like, where's this all going? And like to see that like pump up to $9,500 on GDAX for GDAX to close down. I mean, I thought they were closing down because, you know, like they couldn't handle the stress, but I hear it's because of other things.
Oh, okay. So yeah, there's like rumors that also like, okay, Coinbase is kind of like inside manipulation type of thing. You know, there's like, I'm a type of person, because of blockchain technology and what it offers in the future, we wouldn't have to get to that. I mean, we could get past that into decentralized exchanges that are just run by algorithms. So there's, because like that's where blockchain should be headed, right? Because the technology offers us that solution of decentralization.
Exactly.
So that's why things like Robinhood just launched, and you got some of these other ones being built on Economy and Neo, which is the Nexium exchange. These exchanges are trying to gear towards to become completely decentralized. So things like this should not be an issue. I'm not saying Coinbase is manipulating the market. I'm just saying it's a possibility because we're human, and you know that the type of behavior happens.
Yeah, exactly. And but what do you think for me? So like I'm an avid Bitcoin investor. I mean, I've been for the past year, and I've known about it since 2011. And seeing Bitcoin be around for so long, I'm kind of you know, I want to know what's happening with Bitcoin Cash. Like, am I supposed to move my Bitcoin profits to Bitcoin Cash and then invest in that since it's the faster Bitcoin, or should I just stick around with Bitcoin?
The smartest thing was, if you had Bitcoin and you got your Bitcoin Cash, just keep both, just in case if one flips and the other one.
But some people don't have that. I mean, they're just getting in the game.
I'm just saying that was the smartest thing to do back then. Right now, it's just you gotta wait to see, because we just don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
These are the two biggest whales in cryptocurrency, right? So, I don't think Bitcoin will be completely taken over by Bitcoin Cash, because Bitcoin Cash is not that much better, you know, like for being, if you're trying to use it as like gold, like a large amount, trying purchasing something, or trying to use it as a currency. Even Litecoin is better than that, but that's a huge issue by itself.
But what's really scary about it, though, for me especially, is that if you watch Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, I mean, they're literally inverses of each other. Every time Bitcoin Cash has a rally, Bitcoin normally dips a bit. And so I'm thinking, I mean, it's kind of like a little bit of a war here. You know, I mean, something has to happen.
That's what I'm saying. There was round one, and this was round two.
Exactly.
And every time Bitcoin gets chipped off a little bit more. But I think what's going to happen from all this is that things like Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash are going to slowly lose market share overall. Like I said before from our previous live stream, that Bitcoin will lose market share. Right now it's at 45. I think it will drop down to like 2015 as people understand it's not just currency that gives blockchain its value. Everyone just thinks Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin. It's not going that way. All these other tokens and these other coins, they're for specific participation for these blockchain technologies. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of this money after people actually learn about what blockchain is. It's like, all right, obviously it made sense that the psychology, everyone's like, all right, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin shot up to 19K after it hit 10K. Then it's like, all right, we can't do that. So we're going to hop in Litecoin and Ethereum. That shot up to like, Litecoin shot up to like, what, 400?
Yeah.
Then Ethereum just burst to like 750. Then it's like, all right, what's next now? You know, so it was Ripple, then Privacy, Verge, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And as the knowledge gains from people, then people will say, oh my God, maybe this blockchain solution will be a better solution. So the money is like coming in waves, and it's hitting the first epicenter, which is basically Bitcoin, and it's rippling out No pun intended.
No pun.
But to other altcoins.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting part.
Yeah, I feel like Coinbase really has a big say on what's happening here too.
Yes,
I mean, especially not only in the USA, but I mean just to watch it, like just to watch Litecoin and Ethereum and Bitcoin just all shoot up together like that. It's crazy because it's really the only 3 coins. I look at Coinbase kind of like the Apple of the whole PC world. Like you have like other exchanges with all these altcoins. Like you have Windows, you can customize it with the Android. But with Coinbase, you got like it works for the most part when it doesn't go down, and
it never works.
Yeah,
it never works.
But they have
Coinbase
free limits. They have free limit sells and buys, so that's nice. You can trade actively, for free. Yeah. But they're talking about adding a new coin, and that's also really interesting.
Okay, I think the next coin, I think a lot of people say Ripple. Ripple's a great contender for it being on, especially because
it's cheap.
It's not because it's cheap, because they have Bitcoin Cash and it's thousands already.
Yeah,
it's not because of the price. It's just because what's more U.S. friendly. Mm-hmm. I think more so than Ripple, because people's test case or use case for Ripple is very low, what people could do. But I think Stellar, if they're going to choose one, because they're kind of brother sister coins.
For Stellar and Ripple?
Yeah, I think the wild card choice for Coinbase to add a coin would be Stellar rather than Ripple. But that's just my opinion.
So I actually don't know anything about Stellar. So like, what are we talking about here?
So how like Ripple, it's supposed to be used as like an intermediary currency between big banks to send over money. Yeah. So basically imagine that, but for everyday people. So for instance, someone works in the U.S. and they want to transfer their funds out instead of like a MoneyGram type of thing. They would use Stellar, which is extremely cheap to transfer money. Mm-hmm. So that's where I could see Stellar might be out of an altcoin that might be a little bit higher than Ripple, just because of the use case, or people just don't care about the use case. But I think that coin, especially because of the people behind it, for some reason I just get a vibe from Stellar that they're going to be here for a while too, because it's the only other coin kind of like Ripple, and there's some big players in it with their whole IBM partnership. But yeah, it's just we have to see, because the moment my phone, like This is kind of overwhelming for a lot of people, but for me, my phone, I have a link to Twitter, and I get every tweet from like every top coin. So the moment like Coinbase just dropped Bitcoin Cash, I'm like, all right, let me see if I can take advantage of this trade. And I went in immediately, and it already shot up 40%. But I'm like, all right, it's only gonna go up higher now because of the hype, and it's gonna dump. This is the cryptocurrency game, it's all about hype. Yeah. That's why we're gonna be talking about Litecoin and Verge also, and talk about like how big the hype is behind things and how it drives markets. Because like similarly to Jack's about to be on right now too, so we'll get to our normal programming.
All right, guys. So the good news is, how many viewers we got right now? Decent amount. Good news is we're giving away a Rolex. Bad news is it's not happening until we hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. So tweet it out. Tell your friends. I'm back. I actually have the Rolex with me. So.
Okay, screw the Rolex. Let's get to the Bitcoin talk. How about that?
All right. Well, I'm just saying, competition, guys. All right, continue.
So you want to bring up the Bitcoin chart?
Yeah, I'll bring it up here.
And you can explain what's going on with this, where the pullbacks are.
Okay. All right. Taking a look at Bitcoin. Excuse me. All right. You got my chart up? Aaron. All right. So this is a chart of Bitcoin right now. Primarily, the last major pullback we've had still goes back to right before the breakup. And there was really nice pullback here at 3,000, and then there was another one, and both of these were 50% retracements, where the market kind of takes a distance move and retraces half of that move, and we're in what's called an extension series, which is when the market really starts breaking out, we no longer get normal price action corrections, which is when you take a swing low to a high, you get those pullbacks. We're now in a phase where the price action is so explosive to the upside, it has to continue to stay explosive to the upside. You really want to, in Bitcoin, you really want to be careful if we start trading back below that 14, 15K level for an extended period of time. So let me zoom in on this. Let's see. I'm new to using these charts, so there we go. All right. So this most recent consolidation level. So consolidation is price action that moves sideways, and when price action moves sideways in bases, what ends up happening is there's a whole new series of buyers who create a demand level. And traders and just emotion, like people who aren't even traders, but they see P&Ls in their account. So if you have one Bitcoin, you see your account at 14 grand, at 14 grand, at 14 grand, and then it goes up to 15 and 16, 17. But when you see your account go back below 14 grand, if we start getting below those levels, I do think that Bitcoin could possibly sell off. But right now, the uptrend is intact. There's no reason to think that this rally is over by any means. You can see this most recent breakout level here that we had. So we had this high that we put in on the 7th of December, and then that was really a great point. That's going to be a great point of reference moving forward. You can see that level is hard to break out of. Each one of these bars represents a candle. For those of you guys who are completely new to trading, these are each one of these candles represents a day of time frame, or 24 hours. You can see that once price had hit that level, that becomes a supply zone where traders are saying, okay, that level specifically was 16,600, and we could not get above that. And then when we tested that level again, we could not get above it, and then we broke out and retested that level. So that's kind of like perfect supply-demand trading, where you can see some obvious supply zones where candle wicks are getting rejected over and over again. And when we move above that supply zone and then trade back into it, that becomes a demand zone. So it's typical trading theory right there is supply or support becomes resistance, and resistance becomes support. So that is resistance or supply, and that becomes support or demand. And that is where we're trading at right now. So I'd really, I'd like to be a buyer in between the 16 to 17,000 level. But if we can trade back, to me, like a major level that would kind of shake a little bit of people out, if we could get a pullback to like 13,680, that's a level I would pay attention going forward. But we should consolidate at these previous highs that we broke down out of, and then head back up. And then I would think that the next profit target I would be looking at would be the 21,500 range is where I would expect that next high to kind of be put in. Bitcoin, I do think, is now at that stage where it's not going to have those extreme breakouts that you're seeing in some of the other cryptocurrencies where they're running 400, 500%. That's pretty much over with, especially with now that you have futures that have been introduced. Last week, we had the CBOE futures, which was equivalent to 1 Bitcoin, and then we had the CME, which is the CME is the biggest futures exchange in the United States. CME released their own product, and I actually think it's /BTC, and it's equivalent to 5 Bitcoin. So it's a $20,000 contract, leverage 5 to 1.
So Jack, so we're talking about like the Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash, right? So people want to know kind of maybe like levels if certain events did happen. So you said the support under where it's currently at, that other support line is at 13K.
Yeah, 13K. That would be like a more of a dominant support level.
So what if it cracks that?
So if it cracks 13K,
so let's say Bitcoin Cash goes up a couple thousand and Bitcoin just dumps and it's teetering around 13K drops. Where do you think from your Fibonacci levels it might dip down to?
So I don't think, anytime we hit, like if we have usually crashes, like they don't happen immediately. So I mean, if I were to pull a larger support level, I mean, I have levels all the way down to like 6,000, but the way the market works is typically pullbacks like that, especially in a more, Bitcoin is what we would consider a mature cryptocurrency. There's an order book, there is a demand at different levels versus some of these other cryptocurrencies. They're really not mature. You don't have as many participants in it. So to me, if we did honestly crack that 13,000 level, it would probably be electronic malfunction rather than like an actual function of price right now. So I don't even want to like bring up levels below until we trade into those. Now, if we trade into 13,000, bounce, fail to get a new high, begin a longer period of consolidation, we need, or really to go lower, you need people trapped at highs. In order to get people trapped at highs, you need new buyers at highs, fresh money, people who are in their positions, because really in order for Bitcoin to go lower, people need to be scared out of their positions. And the only time you're going to get people scared out of crypto really at this point in time is when people are actually buying up at higher prices. And if you have an extended period of time right now this is pretty much how crypto is trading. When you have an extended period of time of consolidation without further increase in price, those moves down are what's causing further moves down, because people look, it hasn't gone anywhere. I've been down on it since I got in the trade. That's what's going to create the down move. And right now the price action is not lining up for a down move in Bitcoin. So I don't even like putting levels that are that far out there, because I don't think they're realistic.
Cool. We can move on to you want to pull up the Bitcoin Cash chart too? See how that's
let's see here. Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and got it. All right. Load for me. I think something's wrong with my connection.
Okay, we could go back to the Bitcoin Cash chart in a bit. Let's talk about Litecoin.
Okay, let's see if I did the Litecoin. Yeah, the Litecoin chart.
Litecoin's up. Okay.
Litecoin's loaded for me. The other one, I don't know what happened to my connection here, but I can do charts that have been already loaded. So Litecoin, Litecoin's had, obviously, what's the news in Litecoin first off?
Yeah,
Did you get a chance to talk about that?
Very slightly. Litecoin founder sells all of his Litecoin but promises not to leave. Basically what that means is there's like the Litecoin Foundation, and basically what happens is he says he's not leaving the Litecoin Foundation. He's going to be part of it, but he's don't get it twisted, people. He's cashing out. He's completely cashing out. The only thing they're saying that he's going to keep are his ant miners, which is like his mining equipment. They're going to mine Litecoin. They're going to be donated 100%. He tweeted he's going to be donating 100% of those coins to the Litecoin Foundation.
So what is the what are they helping kids? Do they help? I see all these
it's just governance.
It's like governance. Oh, okay. I was just gonna say you're donating. Is it like a tax write off? Is it No. I wonder if that's a tax write-off. Is it a charitable contribution? He could have set that up as a charity.
I think legality of things are changing too with these smart contracts coming out. So especially a lot of this stuff's global. I don't know what the Litecoin Foundation particularly does for tax write-offs and stuff like that. There's no way I would know, but it's mostly these things are like governance, and they do partnerships with other companies, stuff like that, to bring them to that specific blockchain.
Oh, okay.
So Charlie Lee, so he cashed out completely. In my opinion, I don't think, for him, good for him. If he wants to cash out, he has the right to. He's the one that believed in it. He's the one that created it. He has the right to cash out fully. But when you're cashing out 100%, it doesn't give people that want to get into the coin that confidence.
Now, is he the Steve Wozniak of Apple? Is he the guy who kind of...
He's the face,
Well, Steve Wozniak was, what's his name? Steve Jobs' co-founder of Apple, but everybody forgets about him because he left the company really, really early, and he sold all his shares, and he ended up nowhere near as wealthy as he would have been. So maybe, or maybe
he knows something that we don't.
Yeah, maybe he knows something they don't. Or I look at it from a trader's perspective, and so old trading adage. So back in the day, they used to have, before manipulation really became illegal, they would have commodity trading pools that would pretty much they'd all get together, create rumors, pump up stock prices, and then unload it onto unsuspecting shareholders. That's illegal now, but in order to do that, you can't just sell into thin air. You need hype, you need volume. Especially if I'm sure I would imagine he's somewhere around 10% minimum of the float.
For Litecoin, if he sold all of it at one time, it must have been to maybe a private investor.
Yeah, he could have.
If he dumped it all, I'm saying if he dumped it all into the market, what was the price action in the past 24 hours?
Well, that's what I'm saying, because he sold it into hype. He sold it into you have to have, tops usually happen on news breaks in stocks because not as much as it used to be, but some news event will come out. For a while, Osama bin Laden getting killed was the high of the stock market for I want to say it was 8 months. So it's kind of funny how things just work out like that. So you had this massive move up, ton of volume moving in the market, and he just dumped all of his shares. From a trader's perspective, I'm sick trade. He cashed
executed
out.
well. I'm just saying, if it was that high amount of Litecoin, I feel like it would have made a bigger dent.
Yeah, you can see the volume on that day.
It's like the Winklevoss twins dumping all their Ethereum. It would crash about 50%.
Yeah, there was on the current high, the average volume is 1.45 million coins a day, and it looks like there was 4.62 million coins traded on the high, and then day before that there was like 2.8 million traded. I mean, he just announced today that he got rid of it, but I mean, over the last, I don't know, call it 2 weeks, I mean, there's easily been 20 million, maybe not 20 million, maybe 50 million coins traded. So, I mean, I don't know what the total float is. Can you pull up the float? Like how many coins are available on...
it depends on each... let me see if I can pull it up here. It depends on which exchange, too.
Yeah. Well, it'll show total volume, but does it just show total coins available? You know how, like, Bitcoin, there's, like... or whatever there is, 60 million.
Well, we have the volume 24-hour circulating. Well,
circulating.
Well, circulating supply is just like the amount of coins out there.
No, I know that's what I'm looking for.
So yeah,
circulating
54
supply.
million.
So 54 million. Okay, so he could have easily dumped. So say if he had, I mean, this is complete speculation. So he had 10% float of that five. He could have easily sold 5 million coins.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, he's. I'm just great trade.
Yeah. So, but for me, like, I'd like to see the community aspect of it too. And for me, when you have someone like Charlie Lee that's so big in the community, just saying he just dumped everything of his like basically his baby, you know, it's like it doesn't inspire confidence, and that's my thing.
Yeah, and I was reading some of his tweets and his comments about it, and he was talking about how people were kind of trolling him because every time he would say something, they either said he was pumping or dumping his own position, like he was shorting and then like tweeting as if like that was the most profitable thing for him to do, which is definitely not true. That's like, you know, I mean, the only people that really do that are like hedge fund managers. Carl Icahn is famous for sending a tweet out that increased the market cap of Apple by like 20-some billion. But I mean, as far as
I mean,
you know,
everything that people do in this market, it'll change it. You know, one little rumor comes out, it's like, yeah, people want to do well for their products or their blockchains, but at the same time too, the guy knew exactly what he was doing, saying out those tweets at certain times. You know, he knows.
Do you think he was selling into that though? Like, I mean, you know, is he sending a tweet and then selling into it?
I mean, he knew it was going to go up. Like the whole atomic swap capability, the whole Lightning Network thing, and try and create, and the whole thing. He probably knew that after the whole Bitcoin boom, Litecoin and Ethereum were soon to follow. Yeah, because people were just going to buy into it because of Coinbase. So he's probably like, all right, this might be a good exit strategy for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I also kind of like it's more decentralization. I mean, because you no longer have this single large shareholder of Litecoin. And honestly, I'm impressed if he does have that much percentage of the float. Like if he has 10% of the float, he really didn't move the price. So to me, that says that this market is strong. And I mean, because if the founder dumps its, you know, Ethereum or whatever it is, the entire position, and the market holds its support levels, which Litecoin is doing right now, that tells me that we're probably still going higher.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been bullish about Litecoin, especially with its tech. But yeah, just for me, just kind of like odd and out of nowhere for all of it to be dumped at once, you know? So yeah, it just, for me, it might not infer with the technology, but for at least the community for a little while, it'll probably just leave a bad mark for people for Litecoin. But yeah, I'll definitely go back up because people...
Well, especially if this ends up being like a dominant high and we're unable to get through these levels, I think that'll look really bad on him.
Yeah, well, let's see. Well, where are your levels saying right now?
Right now I have supports between like really 300 to 260. I mean, the volatility, like typically if I'm trading like a product like gold or S&Ps, my levels are more specific, but because of the volatility of these products, like I just have, you know, a 40 point zone on a you know, a cryptocurrency that's roughly right now $300. I mean, that's a pretty big wide buy zone, but right now I'm looking at the 300 to 260 level as support with upside targets at right now I have my upside targets up at 475, 480. So we'll see if we get up there. But right now we're holding supports, still in an uptrend. And if we got below 250 on a daily close, I'd be concerned. So typically, like sometimes you have to, I really like to wait for like price action to close below certain levels. And what a close is, for those of you guys who don't know, some of you guys are pretty much completely new to crypto or just trading in general. Each one of these bars has an open and a close. And how a chart works is when the bar opens and it's green, there's a body, which is the solid part the thin lines you see are what's called the wick. So if a bar opens and then we trade down and then we trade higher here, and then this wick goes like this, this is the close of that bar. So that's where at the end of the day price ended. At the opening of the bar is where price began during that specific time frame. In the wicks is where price traded in between that open and close. So when you have a large body candle, large body candles are momentum, it's strength in whatever direction you're looking at. So this large body candle here, we should, if we get below this, the beginning, that opening of that large body candle, that would be a very bad sign for Litecoin. That should really act as support. So that's why I always pay attention to opens and closes of large body candles for support and resistance. And you can see really right now, the resistance in Litecoin is up at the 350 level, which we've been unable to break out of pretty much since the highs of the 12th.
Interesting. So you think once it breaks that, it'll just make all-time new highs, just go crazy?
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah. So
that's
I mean,
just like nature of the cryptocurrency.
It's the nature of the cryptocurrency market. I mean, the cryptocurrency market is a complete breakout market. The way to go and the way to trade these things, like outside of like, you can know the background, the news, and understand like the rumors that are going to drive the price. But it's like, when we break these price highs, and I'll just show you like the latest example of this massive breakout. And sometimes these things can take months to develop, but like look at the high going back to September high. So this September high here in Litecoin, we came off of it, and then we get back up to it. Initially there's a sell zone, and then as soon as we close above that level here, let me zoom in on this. All right, so this line represents that previous high. So initially it's resistance. So resistance becomes support once we break above. We get above that level, and then as we rotate back down, you see how we're unable to break back below that previous high?
Yes.
And then we just start ripping higher. So that's perfect technical analysis, and that's why the crypto space is so interesting to me outside of the technology, is because it is like if you picked up a book on technical analysis and trading, it really doesn't, it very rarely works in the stock market. Because the stock market's much more sophisticated and there's many more competitive players, but it works much better in the crypto market, like basic technical analysis, support comes, resistance stuff. But that's why, you want to be marking these highs. So this next high you'd want to mark here in Litecoin. And let me get my...
So you're telling people to buy the dip.
Buy the dip and don't sell the rip, because the rip keeps going right now. But so this high here, like you can see again, I'm gonna just go to this close here, 353. That's resistance, resistance, resistance. When we get above that level, and then trade back down into it, that is where because it's all about timing. Crypto, everything's timing, right? It's like being in the right coin at the right time. The best way to do timing is to focus on when price breaks out. Right now in crypto, there's no such thing as shorting. So in a standard market, you're looking at like more of like a back and fill where the market will trade up and then kind of come back or even retest those lows. Crypto is not a back and fill market. It's a breakout market. A lot of
people ask too, though, like, should I trade like when things like events like Bitcoin goes down, for example, because everything's priced in BTC? Without selling my coins back to Coinbase, how could I minimize the risk of loss just because of the market being berserk? A lot of people say, okay, go to USDT. For me, I think a safer option is going to Ethereum rather than trading back into Bitcoin, because Ethereum's at least a little bit more stable than Bitcoin.
So I think the whole thing of like, all of these people who think that they're going to like move out of one crypto and move into another, you're going to do it at the wrong time. Most likely. You're going to do it at the wrong time, because what you're going to do is you're going to be selling when the market's crashing, and really when you are getting those fear points, those pain points, those are where the professionals are going to step in and buy. So, if you're going to sell and like try to hedge with another crypto, I mean, to me, I think cryptos will continue to move very correlated. When Bitcoin goes down, I think, what is it? I mean, I haven't been paying attention to the correlations, but Bitcoin goes down, the altcoins start going higher?
No, that was only one specific case, but it's usually when Bitcoin goes down, everything goes down with it. Besides like things like sometimes Ethereum's the anomaly. So I know a lot of traders, especially me, sometimes when I see when I see Bitcoin crashing and all these other coins go with it, I use Ethereum as kind of like that support
the
coin.
bellwether.
Yeah, exactly. Because what happens is if I'm going to get back into USD, you know, it's going to take a while with the whole Coinbase. With stocks and stuff like that are just different because you always have that constant, which is the USD.
Yeah, my personal opinion is I would move back into USD.
USDT.
Yeah,
right, the tether.
Oh, no, the dollar. Like,
well, we don't have technically the dollar when we trade in these markets like Bitrex and Binance. It's the tether, which represents the USD. Basically.
Okay, yeah. So the USDT, I would move back into USDT because otherwise you're kind of like you're forcing a second trade when you really don't need to. Like if you want to sell Bitcoin, like don't just buy something because you're selling something. You know, you want to premeditate a game plan. Or if you're just a long-term believer in a coin, then, you know, you have to be aware of like what you want to do before it happens. Otherwise, you're going to be susceptible to the market psychology, which will absolutely destroy really uneducated investors.
Like for me, for example, I think there's only two routes to go. You're either a full-time hodler holding on for dear life. You're just holding these coins and they're going to go up because that's what they do. They go up. Or if you're going to be trading, you have to be trading. Like I see a lot of people, they try to do a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And it's just like kind of like you have to stick to one game plan or else you're going to get like completely ripped apart.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. If you're a hodler, like, you know, you can still I think you could still trade around your positions, like scaling and scaling out. But like the thing is, you still have to have an idea of how trading works, even if you're going to be a hodler, because a lot of times hodlers, like they'll get this big breakout here, day 1, day 2, and then they'll sell. They're like, and they'll see day 3 goes down, and you know they might want to get out of their trade. But like, I mean, I guess if you're a hodler, like literally give yourself a date and time, say March 50th or March 30th. You know, I'm gonna look at the market. Then look at the market March 30th and don't touch it. You know, because I mean, but everybody who's a hodler is looking at their Coinbase, their GDAX account, going, how much am I up today? How many imaginary points do I have today? You know, It's like you're still looking at it. So
of course, everyone has their Blockfolio and CoinCap, and they're always checking to see how much they're up.
I just think being a hodler, sooner or later, hodlers are gonna get their butts kicked. So even if you want to be a hodler, like you have to learn like these things. You can, I mean, in my opinion, it's going to end very poorly for hodlers at some point. It
depends on the coin, because I feel like with cryptocurrencies, like I said before, it's such a new emerging market, new technology. Things are going to change, and as software is very malleable.
Yeah.
So like other blockchain solutions will completely just make another one obsolete, and the market will recognize that.
I mean, as long as you're comfortable with a 50 to 60 to 70% drawdown. But the thing that I worry about is that when hodlers experience those type of drawdowns, they're going to be sellers, and they're going to be sellers at the worst time.
But I feel like that's for every market, though.
Exactly. It is for every market. It is for every market, and that's the point. Like a hodler, like as a hodler, like sooner or later, like all markets crash. I don't care if it's gold. I mean, gold's crashed before. I mean, gold was like at $1,900 and it crashed down to like $1,100. I mean, everybody thought gold was a safe investment in 2013 at an incredible bull market. You know, you look at like legitimate companies like, I mean, Apple got cut in half just as recently as 2015. So, you know, and nothing really even changes. So, you know, you have companies who produce revenue and are valuable. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's market psychology. It's market behavior. You are going to have a correction. We will probably come through out of the high of that correction. But the thing is, if you can't hold through that drawdown, and you need to mentally prepare yourself. If you have $100,000 in an account, you need to mentally prepare yourself for the day that you see 30 grand. If you're not going to trade, if you're just going to hold on. Because that will happen. If you're just going to hold on with your eyes closed, that 100 grand is going to turn into 30. It'll probably go back to like 150, but when you see 30 on your screen, all of a sudden shit gets real and you're like, oh man, I better sell out before it goes to zero. And that's when all the fear mongering comes in. I mean, the attitude of everybody changes when price happens. Like, I mean, I've seen it happen so many times in different stocks, everything.
Well, yeah, this is why I always make this joke, right? When I'm like putting in like my group chat with my friends, or I'm talking to people, when you hear the FUD every time Bitcoin dips, right? And it's like, is this the end of Bitcoin? I've literally seen 100 articles about this past year and a half. Every time I just put hashtag my first dip.
Yeah.
And put that in the chat below, hashtag my first dip.
To be clear, I am not bearish any of these coins, to be clear. But I'm just letting people know to be mentally prepared for that time. I am by no means do I think these are tops at all.
Well, we're a little over half a
trillion.
Yeah, half a trillion market cap. I think we had a discussion before when you think maybe the market cap would be at if
2 trillion.
2 trillion, you think?
2 to 4.
And
2 to 4 is pretty wide range, but I think 2 to 4.
And the way that so many people are trying to get in this market, when do you think we'll see that 2 trillion, 2 to 4 trillion? Do you think a year?
I think it's further out than people think it is. This is like at this point in time, it's pretty much like the early adopters are in. You need, and it's still, if you look at people who own Bitcoin, it's really not our parents. It's not. So the wealthiest generation in history is the baby boomers. I mean, they have all the wealth, right? They have no interest in owning cryptocurrencies. When they have interest in owning cryptocurrencies, and that's when you're going to see when they start putting, because I mean, if you think about the people, I mean, the average viewer probably here might be anywhere from 15 to 35. I don't know. Maybe we have a couple over that, but like it's still, because I mean, unless they're, the older people who are interested in this are probably more technologically advanced. But when you see that baby boomer generation start asset allocating to cryptocurrencies, and the thing about that generation, they're only going to go with Bitcoin. They're not going to be messing around with XMR and unless they're super sophisticated investors, which you got to realize sophisticated investors is a very small proportion of the people who actually have money. Most people that have a lot of money, either generational wealth are actually not that sophisticated of investors. Usually have other people do it for them.
Sure. Yeah, and so that's why that might explain why also these coins like Ethereum and Litecoin, like we're talking about, the ones on Coinbase, because it serves as the main bottleneck, are the ones that are making these extremely bullish moves.
So like with the way Coinbase is working, so I compare it to a buyout in the stock market. When like Coca-Cola says they're going to buy like Lay's chips, or I think Pepsi owns Lay's, like it jumps like 40%. All of a sudden there's this like massive, they pay out for the stock. Now, Coinbase, whoever they list, it's like they're almost acquiring a company, because so it's like there's going to be speculation, I think, for years to come as far as who's Coinbase going to offer. I mean, it's almost like it could be like one of the biggest opportunities for insiders at Coinbase, which I'm not, to make like literally tens of millions of dollars over the next 5 years.
Wealth.
Yeah, like crazy money.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that's illegal, to be honest.
At this point, it's like the way information moves, it's so quick, it's so instant. Anything could probably be made a case for like manipulation or not being manipulation. It's like this gray area, because cryptos offer a gray area in finance too. It's so malleable. Like the code just differs so much from coin to coin that the use case is like, is it money? What is it? Is it tokens or participation? How do you? The big problem is like, how do you define it? And that's like the huge problem, I think, also with governments trying to adjust to this, is how the hell are you going to be defining these coins if a lot of them just do completely different functions?
Yeah,
are they the same asset class at that point?
So what the different ways to take them ICO? They're so like to avoid SEC regulation, they file them not as securities but as you know how else they file ICOs? It's like if they file if it's a security, it has to be filed with the SEC, and then the other one is like a tool. Like if they file as like a tool, it doesn't have to be regulated by the SEC, which is like interesting.
Yeah, because it's kind of like a
utility. Yes, utility. That's how they file it.
Well, no, I don't know if that.
But that's how they file it.
Well,
no, that's how they file it. The ICO is considered a utility and not a security, and because it's not a security, it's not regulated. But I mean, I think sooner or later there will be some kind of legislation that, that'll be the first. That'll be the first wave, the scare wave, I think. But you see, I mean, honestly though, I think people are afraid of legislation. I think legislation will actually make the market rally.
I mean, it will make it rally for sure, because it's admitting that it's here to stay.
Yeah.
Right. That's like the basically government saying, "Hey, we're regulating it because we know it's here." Once they acknowledge that, yes, for people that like want a decentralized future with like less government, more libertarian minded, yeah, it sucks for people like me. But at the same time too, I understand that it's still bullish, because once the government recognizes it's an entity and it wants to tax it and everything, then it's like it has its own category officially.
And then you're going to have a whole new wave of wealth. That's when the baby
Yeah.
boomers are going to be like, well, the government's regulating
So
it
we should
now.
keep out for that.
Yeah. Yeah, the government's regulating it now. Must be a good time to get in, right? It's like now, because everybody's just worried. Honestly, the biggest fear for people with like generational wealth is you only need to make money once, all right? You don't need to make it twice. You need to keep it. So that's why they don't care about making money. You know, they don't care about you know, you got $100 million. You're okay with it. You don't want to, you know, you're not really concerned about, unless you're like self-made hyper aggressive, you're not really concerned about taking that 100 million to 400 million. You're more concerned about staying at that 100 million and doing like 8% a year, because that's 8 million cash, and that'll, you know, that'll give you a good life. So I think any kind of regulation would maybe bring those people to the table.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because at that point the market will be more mature and more blockchain solutions will come out and be more mainstream too. So a lot of these smaller tokens that come up, people will be using it. Like for example, Apple signed Apple. I believe they filed a utility patent. I believe it's a utility patent for a. It's a patent. I don't know what type of patent it was, but it was a patent for blockchain. So
I think Amazon did as well.
So what that means is, I believe Apple's either developing their own blockchain for their own token or coin, or they're going to be adopting a coin. But regardless of what it is,
Apple Pay.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to turn it with that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I
Integrated,
think it's
yeah,
going to be integrated into Apple Pay.
So imagine this: like you're gonna have phones, which I believe there's already one that was made in China that are specifically made for cryptocurrency. So they might have a special chip in there or something that have an area you could store your private keys on there. So there might be in the future. So that's what we have to keep out for. Maybe like companies that might integrate wallet private addresses into your phone.
Interesting.
So it will make peer-to-peer transactions more easier.
Wow.
OneCoin.
I haven't thought about that
OneCoin,
yet.
Coin, if it does blow up, this is one I'll put money into for sure if it gets announced, is Steam. Not Steam but the company Steam from Valve,
Okay.
the gaming company.
Okay.
So what they do is they have their own online marketplace where they could like buy and sell digital items, even though the practice is kind of shady, but there's definitely a huge market there. They delisted Bitcoin as one of their ways you could deposit money. So rumors are that they're gonna
Come out with their own
coin.
So what do they sell?
It's just video games, honestly.
Okay.
So they're gonna create a marketplace for you could sell your assets, your digital assets in video games to other people. So you have this game called Counter-Strike, for example, CS:GO.
So does
You
Steam,
get like
does
a
Steam
sick-ass-
own Counter-Strike?
Yeah. Valve does. It's their IP. So, for instance, you get this sick ass knife, right? And this knife goes for like $300 USD. You have to go through very shady
Digital
stuff to sell
knife,
it.
just like digital kitties.
Digital knife, and you could swap it. And, you know,
Man, people got way too much time on their hands
Yeah,
to
but
be
think about
buying
this. Okay,
digital knives.
well, digital kitty-
I don't get it. There's a lot of fun stuff out there for $300.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm just saying at least with something like digital knives and stuff like that, that's for like real games, like real people playing that stuff. Something like CryptoKitties,
So you get to
is
use
a
it in the
small-
game, is
it's
what
so
you're
niche.
saying.
Yeah, there's more utility to it. So that's why I think for something like that, for digital assets, something like a Steam Valve coin will perform actually decent.
Skin coin. People are saying. I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see the comments over here over in the corner. Cool.
Yeah. CS:GO is the $5,000 glove. It's insane what they have. But I just want to see, like, depending on what the coin is, we could speculate. There's other coins that want to do that, tokenize stuff for video games and stuff like that. But we don't know for sure until one of these big entity adopts it. So I don't know if it's going to be Microsoft with Xbox, PlayStation, Sony. But I think Valve would probably be the entity that will do it first because of its like nature of being on like Windows devices.
Yeah. So compared to like, I guess the moves like we're seeing in cryptos, I would compare them actually. Like there was like these pot stocks that used to come out, and it's like they don't actually have to do anything. This is a lot of rumor driven. Like that's why I do think like even if we're going to be introducing later on, we're going to be introducing kind of like a newsletter that we're going to keep you guys on top of some of the stuff that we're moving. I get it. Most of you have jobs. I mean, I have a job myself. I I don't even trade crypto full time, but it interests me. I trade, commodities and currencies, standard currencies full time, but the whole crypto market interests me because of the price action and the behavior. The behavior is exactly the same as like super explosive stocks. So like if you look at things like pot stocks, MNJA, these were like, these companies really didn't even do anything. A lot of times they're just like filled with debt. It like as soon as some kind of rumor comes out, like you're talking about like introducing a coin with like a video game, they just explode. So it's like you get in, you get out, but you don't hodl those. Yeah. You can hodl the big three. You can hodl, you can hodl the ones that are really just a bet against inflation. But like these other speculative ICOs, I would be very careful hodling.
Well, yeah, for sure, because a lot of these ICOs are pump and dumps. Like unlike you, I've been in the cryptocurrency market full time. It's what I do all day. I just literally I read and I trade all day. So that's why it's a lot of information at one time. Try to access that for a show, especially when we go off topic. But in terms of how the space moves, yes, a lot of these ICOs are pump and dumps.
Yeah, sure, absolutely, for
sure. No regulation, wild west type of a scenario. But if you could pick out some good ones. You might not want to buy it at first. You might not want to participate in the ICO.
It's all about the breakouts, man.
But I'm saying once like an exchange like Bitrex does list them, what will happen is usually it'll spike up at first, it will dump, then you buy that dip of that ICO, and it'll go up.
It's called a dead cat bounce in trading terms.
Well, but because everyone is waiting for these ICOs to go on something like Bitrex, and it just literally dumps, and I'm like, okay, this is cool, like Power Ledger, and I'm like, all right, let me hop on Power Ledger, because Power Ledger, they actually have a real. If you do the research, they actually have a real proof of concept in Australia. So it's if you know these things and you see an opportunity like that, that's like a big way of making money in cryptocurrencies. Just having that knowledge of what's going on around you and having some basic trading skills, and then you could make some good money from it.
You know what we got to start doing? We got about like 7 minutes left, but you're coining next week, and then I'm gonna give mine. Hopefully, we're just gonna do it. Coin next week. We'll go coin next week. What's your favorite coin, and where is it trading right now? And we'll see where it's trading next Wednesday.
Well, I got 2 coins because I'm in 2 positions.
Oh, he's got 2 of them. So you got a big one.
Okay, so I split my position, but I think
what's your favorite?
Okay, my favorite right now, VeChain.
What's a ticker? I got my internet up.
Okay, it is technically VEN, but they're switching it to VET as we currently speak.
VEN. Is it on TradingView? Do you know?
It might be, but because it's only on Binance. But they definitely don't have it to USD. It's gotta be either BTC or Ethereum.
Okay.
They made a deal with the Chinese government. So that's the disclaimer. I'm in that position right now. So I bought in at actually I'm a little bit down because I bought it. Because I was waiting for it to be listed on the, I don't know how it's pronounced.
Okay, so VeChain. I'm gonna remember that one. So what's it trading right now?
I think it was $1.
I think it's 40. So hard. I know. I just if they can't be quoted against dollars, it's hard for me to keep track of it.
Well, it's $1.52 right now. So what happened was
$1.52 quoted against $1.
Yeah, it's 13%, I guess, because it only does you relative against BTC. But right now it's $1.52.
Okay.
So I got into this at like $1.70 because I was waiting. There was a huge anticipation. There was huge sell walls. So when you see how these contracts work when you're trying to buy and sell a coin, for example, let me see if I could pull up something here. Let me go on Binance really quickly and show you guys. So yeah, give me a second here. I'm gonna pull out the VEN. Okay, so if you want to switch it over, Aaron. Okay, so basically this is like a advanced Binance a screen, and basically right now it's trading at $1.50. I got in at $1.70. I believe it was two nights ago because there was because what happened was if you look at the depth chart over here. When I saw it originally, you saw some crazy sell walls. So sell walls are on the right side in the red. And basically what they're doing is they're trying to keep the price down because of the huge news with China and because VeChain was being listed on it was going to be listed on the biggest South Korea.
Book? Is that the order book?
Yeah. So basically when I saw it originally.
What software is that? That's pretty cool.
Oh, this is Binance.
Oh, that's Binance's order book?
Yeah, so this is advanced. This is an advanced view of it. So there's 2 versions. So I like advanced because I love everything.
Is that
in
a
dark
paid
mode.
version?
No. It's just another way of looking at it. I like this. I just like how it looks and it feels.
Cool.
So it gives me the proper information I need. So when I saw this, the order book for sells in the red was crazy. Like you saw some big walls on it because it was gonna be listed on a new exchange, which the exchange was the biggest one in South Korea, which is I don't know how to pronounce it, Wabi, Huobi, which is like the biggest one in South Korea. So they were gonna buy it. There's like a lot of speculation behind that. So I got into that trade, but what I didn't know is the whole Bitcoin Cash thing. So when the Bitcoin Cash thing happened, it kind of took steam away from that. But I'm currently in this trade because I believe in the next week it's going to skyrocket.
All right, let's take a couple of. This is a bunch of questions here, and people
sure.
asking you Q&As. So where do you buy the VEN? So where do you how do you process? So how do you get your money? So for you as resident, how are you getting your money on Binance? So good. This is a good walkthrough because it's not as simple as just like funding a brokerage firm.
Sure. So basically, let me see if I can find something here. So if you type in Binance.com, we also have a link down there. Also, you can click to register, but you'll click on register over here.
Where's that link for the Binance? It would help if you guys went through our link, but
yeah, it will help us out. We'll just get a little bit of referral from it. And basically, what happens is you click register, you register it. Once you do register it, there'll be an area that says wallets. I don't have it because I'm not logged in currently. But basically, you log in, it'll require you to do 2FA. So if people don't know what 2FA is, it's two-factor authorization.
Yes.
So
keeps you secure. And
yes.
On the back of that, all of you need to download an app called Google Authorization if you really want to keep things safe.
Yes. So every account you want to have 2FA. So once you have Google Authorization, what it means is you'll have this link from the Binance or whatever exchange that you're in, and you plug it into your Google Authorization. So what happens is on your device, every 30 seconds, it will generate a new 6-digit code that you could type in when you're right after you log in your email and password. So you'll log into the Binance, and after that, you type in your 6-digit authorization number from your phone, and then it'll give you access.
I mean, as far as what I've read, if you really want to be secure about it, because security is definitely a big thing when it comes to this stuff, guys, because the reason why this stuff is like so risky, I mean, with gains comes risk, right? Like anything in life, you can set up a Google Voice. So you would, if you really want to be secure, set up a Google Voice number unassociated with the number you use anywhere publicly. So then nobody actually knows. So you can actually go through, and set up a Google Voice, tongue twister. Set up a phone number and then use that phone number as your 2FA phone number. Or if you just get Google Authorization, what it is, let me see if I can actually pull it up on my phone here. I just got it recently. So anyway, I almost don't want to show you. So anyway, I don't want to show my email. I have an email completely separate of my public email. And what it is you download it on your phone, and it literally has a timer. I'll just kind of block it out here, but it has a little timer here that like runs out every 10 or 15 seconds, and it's a new code every 10 or 15 seconds that allows you to log into whatever account you're connecting with this 2FA. So if you want to be hack proof, I was reading about how the Winklevoss twins, how they actually store their Bitcoin. They have a hard, I think it's cold storage. It's called cold storage, where it's off exchange. They have physically printed out their cold storage number. I mean, this is next level stuff, but they also have one.
You could do it too.
Yeah, they have $1 billion. I mean, I'd be locking up $1 billion too. They did cold storage, cut the numbers in multiple pieces, and stored them in different safety deposit boxes around the United States. So that's next level security. But like as simple as downloading an app called Google Authorization, really helpful for securing it, and then just enable that. You can actually, I think you can set it up with your email or whatever you're logging into. But Binance is in their Chinese base, because like you got to realize like you can't buy this stuff through U.S. brokerages right now. I
mean, yeah, but Bitrex is located in Las Vegas. And honestly, Poloniex is becoming irrelevant, especially because they've had a lot of troubles with deposits, and there's a lot of rumors about what's going on with their margin and stuff. But right now, Poloniex seems a little bit more shady to me. because once again, people, exchanges, if you've looked at, I create a free Bitcoin course. I go over like the different risks of each type of storage, because if you keep your coins on the exchange, it's the least secure, because there's no regulations, no nothing. It's very gray area. So if something does happen, you could potentially lose your coins. Happened with some people on Bitfinex. And basically what would be next best is like a mobile app or an Electronium wallet, what's it called? Just like a multi-signature wallet. And after that would be like a cold storage option, like the Winklevoss twins.
Yeah.
Which you could print your own code.
And if you're gonna hodl, do cold storage. If you're gonna trade, you obviously can't do cold storage.
Yeah. So basically, I would recommend people. The easiest thing is probably getting Nano Ledger or Trezor, depending on which coin. So if you know which coins you want to hodl, look to see what's compatible with. I know Nano Ledger has a lot more options than Trezor, but they're both good options. I've people that know that own them. I don't hodl,
so in order to get your money on Binance, do you have to send them? Like, so if you own Ethereum, so run through that.
Yeah, so basically if people understand what cryptocurrencies, how it's sent, you have a public address, and basically once you go on Binance and you go to wallets, you go down exactly which coin that you want to send over. Because if you send over the wrong coin to a wrong address, it's gone. So you have to be very cautious when you're doing this.
Yeah, there's no returns.
There's no returns. This is how blockchain works. You send over something. If it's not the right coin, hey, look, maybe I'll get $1 million one day. Some guy accidentally pressed like an A instead of a B, and I just got $1 million $1 million worth of Bitcoin. But
whoops,
a lot of stories like that have happened. So it's
not to me.
Yeah. So basically, so you send it over. You get the digits. I think it's 16 digits long, or depending on the coin. You take it, you copy and paste it into either your Coinbase or any other exchange.
So is this something you would pretty much only do on a computer?
Yes.
Not on a mobile phone.
No way.
Don't do it on a mobile phone.
Well, especially a lot of these exchanges are just not mobile friendly too. So you don't want to mess it up. You want to make sure that the digits that you're putting in are valid. They're not one letter off or anything. They're exactly how it was before, and you can send over the funds. It's pretty self-explanatory there, but make sure you guys just have the right code. I can't stress that enough. And I keep saying too, if you guys are going to participate in ICOs or do anything like that, don't do it from a Reddit link or something else, because a lot of people just Photoshop their private key onto like a flyer and say, send your Bitcoin Ethereum here to participate.
Oh yeah, no, don't do that.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, for people that are especially starting off, those keys and what you're doing with them, it's basically final. You're not getting it back.
I don't know about you guys, but has anybody else here been getting like Instagram ads to participate in ICOs? Like, I get them all the time.
Yeah, I mean, in such a way that some guy maybe from like, I don't know, Asia or somewhere else that are just low regulation, they might just pay for an ad just to do it for like a quick 24 hours. And they get like maybe like 10 Bitcoins worth, but hey, 10 Bitcoins is a lot of money, for that small period of time.
Yeah, what is 200 grand? I mean, hey.
Yeah, I'm saying the people, those things do exist.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's the Wild West, people, and we need to take our proper precautions.
Yeah, for sure. And like, don't let the Wild West scare you, because in my eyes, like, that's the risk is part of this entire. I mean, you're seeing these things explode because of the risk involved. And as long as you educate and protect yourself, it's really not that sophisticated. The other thing that you always just want to make sure of, there is phishing websites out there. Because of all this stuff is anonymous, which makes it valuable, it also makes it hacker prone. So always check the URL www. And make sure that's spelled correctly, whatever the website is you're visiting. If you spell Coinbase with a D and it's Coindace or something, and you log in, it'll be a straight phishing website. You will think you're at the legitimate one. You will give them your information. So be very aware that is how phishing programs work. And my coin pick of the week, I'm going to go with Verge. This thing is about to break out right now.
What do you mean it's about to break out? Okay,
it's about to break out into a new all-time high.
So, our first video on Major League Crypto, I said Verge would be one of the highest pumping coins, which is congrats to all Verge owners. I was not part of it because when I was trying to make the trade at the time, I saw there was an issue regarding one of their wallets, and there was speculation that a lot of the major Verge miners were doing some sort of manipulation. So I'm like, all right, maybe I'll hold off and not buy the dip, which was at 50 Satoshi.
I'm a buyer of Verge.
So yeah, I would have made like 14 times my money.
Binance, Katie. I'm actually in the process of. It took me a while to like. I didn't realize, but apparently, if you fund Coinbase with a credit card, it's faster than sending money over from your bank account. So I made
it's less amount. So
what is
with
it?
The credit card, you for instant transaction, I believe it's only $300.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, for the card. So that everything else has to be done through a bank, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you can do what, 300 a day then? I mean, still, I moved.
A week.
I moved a couple $1,000s over like through an ACH. That took like 3 days to hit, which is fine. And then I bought Bitcoin just to like hold on to, because then I was going to transfer the Bitcoin over into another brokerage.
Sure.
So pretty much what you have to do, as far as the way I understand it, moving money into Coinbase is probably the easiest way. Once that money's in Coinbase, you then send the coin to your brokerage firm, like through Binance, right? That's how.
Yeah. So you send it. Yeah, you send it to the exchange you want to send to. So you have the address. It'll tell you. With some of them, you could just scan. If you have a
QR code.
Yeah. So if you have a Coinbase, if you primarily have yourself through Coinbase, just literally you could pull a scannable code on Binance and you. Can
Katie, they do.
Yeah. So yeah, just send it over through that.
If you want, pull up on your screen here and just show how many coins there are available to trade on Binance.
Yeah. So Binance actually they're adding a lot more. So BTC market.
I mean, look at all these coins.
Yeah,
so you can trade all those, correct?
Yeah, and the ones that I'm very bullish on for the week are on here. So they do have Verge. Verge is on here also. XVG, and mine, which is VEN currently. But it's gonna be VET once the rebranding happens. So yeah, let me just start that. So yeah, VEN BTC, that's the one I am, and you. So you want so what we're gonna do right now? We're gonna say.
He's got a really funny Snapchat.
So next week we're gonna see which one performs better from this time today.
Yeah. So Verge is 0.00. How many freaking decimals is that? 5.
It should be 8. If you're comparing it to Bitcoin.
It is Verge to Bitcoin. So are we gonna quote it to Bitcoin?
We could just do both. We could just run over both.
All right.
See which one.
I don't even know. Game. Is there a? Can you get a cash quote? I don't think I can get a cash quote on Verge.
It's on Let me see. Coin market cap.
I'm gonna have to write this stuff down.
XVG. Yeah.
We're gonna need a pen and paper.
So right now Verge is at 16 cents on Coin market cap because we're gonna refer from that.
Okay.
And it's at 967 Satoshi. Which Satoshi is indicators relative to Bitcoin.
I'll take a picture of that. Well, actually, I probably won't have this phone next week.
And right now,
because I'm returning it, but
so
maybe you take the picture.
Yeah, I'll take the picture, and basically we'll see who's gonna do better on this trade. Honestly, so I have belief in VeChain right now. So
all right, we'll see. I mean, it's it's all funny games. I don't really care. I mean, I'm just looking at the chart. I mean, it's if I
just keep going up higher and higher. So
who knows? I mean, I have no crystal ball here, but I just like the fact that you can launder money with it.
By the way, when we're talking about hype, people.
Not that I'm trying, but
when we're talking about hype, you see what happens when we're talking about Charlie Lee. What happened when John McAfee tweeted about the privacy coins like Monero and Verge. Verge was already going up higher than when the McAfee tweet. It literally went parabolic after that.
Yeah. So and Monero, jeez.
Yeah. So we're saying before.
If you don't follow John McAfee on Twitter, go ahead because he's probably
So if you want to know,
I actually follow him. He's crazy.
And turn on the notifications so you get him literally right on your phone every time. For me, I do it with all the coins, but that's just a hectic lifestyle. Most people won't do that. But if you're going to follow one guy that say, okay, this is a good coin, it'll just go up like 50, 60% out of nowhere. John McAfee's probably that guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably one of the more, I mean, this is still one of those immature markets where like, I mean, people are just, the rumor chasing, you know? Mm-hmm. You can donate money, Cole. Feel free. But people are rumor chasing. So like you don't want somebody who's tweeting out 30 tweets a day. John McAfee, I don't think he tweets I don't know, maybe a couple times a week. I don't really know.
No, he tweets pretty regularly.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what, like, is it when he's tweeting about coins? Like, you would rather look like less is more when it comes to that stuff. Because if they're giving a coin every other day, they're not going to be impactful. But like John McAfee, like pretty much he mentioned Verge, Monero, and then Zcash were the big three. And the reason he sees value in them, and the same reason I do, is not that like any of us would ever try to launder money, because that's illegal and we don't recommend you do that. There are people that would try to do that. Colombian cartels, drug dealers. That's not going out of business anytime soon. And then mafia. I mean, it's out there. So.
Yeah, because if you look at the tech too, the Tor I2P thing is just very sexy too for people. When they hear Tor, Onion networks and stuff, you're like, oh my god, so that's why when I did the discussion with Andrew for the first Major League crypto video, when I said, he asked me, hey, which one ROI is gonna be highest by the end of the year, I said, yeah, I think Verge is gonna boom like crazy too. And especially because they went through their whole rebranding process, they changed the look. Before it was more like Hacker Man, like cyber, like neon type of colors and stuff, and they kind of just made it more calm. So it looks, the perception of it is a lot more professional too, which added on to like its hype, I feel like. But that was a couple months ago. But right now it just boomed, and hey, congrats all Verge owners, you guys deserve it. For reading the market well. It's a good coin. So.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't checked out the other videos on Major League Crypto YouTube channel, feel free to check them out. And if everybody could just give me another thumbs up on this video, that really, really helps. Thank you guys for coming today. This video will be available to watch at any point later in the week. It will be uploaded. So I appreciate all you guys' time here today. Thanks for coming and asking questions. And, if you know anyone interested in the space, I'd like to, get this chat bigger and bigger. We're going to be doing this every week indefinitely. So thank you for your time here, and enjoy your Christmas. Well, I don't know. So yeah, we'll do it Wednesday.
Yes. Yeah. Next Wednesday we'll be up.
We'll be up next Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll see everyone next week. And hopefully, people make a little bit of money before the year's done too. So.
Yeah, cool, man. All right, take care, guys.
All right, see ya.